Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio, your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
All right, everybody. Welcome to You as a Whole, Body, Mind, and Soul with Justin MIRIGLIANI. This is Monday, what is it, June 16th? And today's topic's a tough one because the topic is a woman's worth and power, or the influence by male vulnerability. And as a man, it almost seems like an opinion is not welcomed by a large percentage of women. I'm not saying all women. I never say all about anything. And I don't know what the percentage is. I don't have statistical data to back this up. But I've heard a lot of, well, you don't know because you're a man, or you haven't felt this because you're a man, or you haven't done this because you're a man. And I think some things are human, that are just universally human, whether you're a man or a woman, that certain things that you do go through or feel. I mean, women get cancer, men get cancer. Is it, the female type of cancer is different than the male type of cancer, or vice versa? No, they're the same thing. They still are sick. They still feel a certain way. Now, of course, from body to body, things are different. Or if, in my case, with ulcerative colitis, if I have ulcerative colitis and a woman has, which I don't anymore because of surgery, but if a woman has ulcerative colitis, does that mean that disease is different because she's female than male? No. Was mine different than hers because I'm male and she's female? No, it's the same disease. It's just in two different bodies. Now, how we handle it and how severe it is, that goes from person to person. That gender notwithstanding, right? You could have two males and one has a very minor case of it and somebody give a major case. So but that has nothing to do with gender. So there are things that are frustrating. There are things that are I don't want to say difficult to accept, and I try not to fight with people over it as much anymore. I mean, when I was younger, I probably fought more. Now I internalize more. I allow the anger that I feel build up in me, and I don't express it as much. Or it depends. It depends on the time. But I have two daughters, so I certainly don't want to see what we saw in the 50s, the 60s, 70s, even the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. I think women's empowerment is great. I think it's important. I think women bring a lot to the table. I think they bring, a lot of times I hear, women bring a different perspective to the table. Well, in some ways they do. In some ways they bring the same perspective, just they're a different person. Their perspective might be the same as a man's, but it's just coming out of a woman's body. I don't think we need to differentiate between the two sometimes. If they're good ideas, they're good ideas, period. I mean, what brain it came from doesn't matter. I'll give you an example with my own surgeon. My surgeon was Dr. Michael Harris, Mickey, and he was the premier colorectal surgeon in the world. And when he performed my surgery, I of course was scared, but couldn't have been in better hands. And I knew that. Well, he retired. and his replacement, who he trained, and by the way, he trained under Dr. Crone, which is amazing. I mean, Crohn's disease, he trained under Dr. Crone. And he trained his replacement, who is Dr. Anna Soror. And she's my surgeon now. And I go up to see her about every 8 months or so to make sure that everything's working okay and that the surgery's all right. And, there are no problems. Now, do I feel any different whatsoever being treated by Dr. Soror than I did under Mickey? No, I don't. I don't. Do I want to change? Somebody asked me, well, now that your surgeon is retired, Mickey, why go all the way up to Inglewood, New Jersey? Why not just get a doctor closer to the Philadelphia area where I live and just have that doctor take care of you? And this way you won't have to make the drive anymore because Mickey's gone. He retired. So, yeah, but I still want the best. The best just happens now to be a woman. So, Mickey's greatness is not indicative of, well, I'll say it this way. Mickey's greatness helped Dr. Soror because she was younger, but if she was a man, she would be a great surgeon because she learned from the best, just like Mickey learned from Dr. Crone. But no matter how good Mickey was, and he was the greatest colorectal surgeon in the world, she's probably the greatest rectal surgeon in the world today, too. Does Mickey's accomplishments make her not as good? No, not at all. Everybody knows I'm a gym rat, so I'm in the gym a lot. And let's say, and I'll take gender out of it. I'll take gender out of it completely. Let's say, and this actually happened a couple weeks ago. So I was on the bench and I was feeling pretty strong, and I bench pressed 325 pounds. And it's the most I benched in a while because I was up to 385 and I lost a lot of weight and lost some of my strength. So I was feeling pretty good. I was excited and I was like, all right, this is great. Guy sits down next to me and he puts up 500 or 510, whatever it was. So did my 325 then become negative 185 or 190? So does that mean that I didn't lift the 325? Because he did more. So does that negate what I did? Does that mean what I did was not any good, wasn't worth anything, but because he did more? And that's what I think I'm seeing a lot with comparisons with men and women. That, first of all, do women have to work harder than men still? Yes. Is that unfortunate? Yes. It shouldn't be that way. It should not be that way. Now, if we're honest, is it getting better? It's getting better because I think we're becoming, with evolution of our own brains, we're starting to understand that there isn't much of a difference. For certainly brain-wise, there isn't any difference whatsoever. I mean, maybe, all right, if you go back to like psychology and you talk about different personality types, yes, there are differences between the brains of men's and women's. But as far as which one's better, that different doesn't equate to better. Pizza is different than a hamburger, but that doesn't mean it's better than a hamburger. They're both good things, right? Men are good, women are good. Men are supposed to be, not always, but supposed to be superior in math and science. Women are supposed to be superior in English and comprehension and things like that. Okay, maybe that is a majority of the time. It might be. It might very well be. Maybe that's why there is that thought. But that doesn't mean it's 100% of the time. And even if it was, isn't that a good thing? I mean, doesn't that one can strengthen the other? I mean, there's things that I'm terrible at, and there are things that I'm really good at. There are things that I can do very, very well, and there are things that I can't do at all. but it has nothing to do with my gender. Do I think that we are born with preconceived notions of our gender? I think, yeah, a little bit, especially at my age at 50. When I was a kid, I think there were more toys that were built for boys and more toys that were built for girls. And I think that did happen. I don't even think that did happen. It did happen. That's the way it was. And I think there was some of that, that boys were supposed to play sports, before, what was it, 1974 was Title IX, I think. So boys were supposed to play sports, women weren't supposed to play sports. Now, my two daughters play sports, and I'm glad they do, and I'm happy that they do. My oldest daughter swims, and she's in her last year at 18 years old. She's going to get finished up swimming this year, and she had a great career and really did well and won 4 awards for her 4 years in high school. She's graduating this week. And my youngest daughter is a tremendous athlete. She's way superior athlete than I was at her age. She could throw harder. She could run faster. She could she plays softball. She could hit the ball harder. She is more agile. She especially for her size, she's a very small, petite young lady, but shredded as far as being muscular. She's very, very muscular, very strong, and tough. She's got a toughness in her. She also has a desire in her, the will to win. She really wants to. Rachel's coming in. Okay, let's see, Rachel. Hello, Justin. Dare I bring up females in sports? I remember when Manon Rhéaume. Okay, so just so you know who Manon Rhéaume is, she was the first player, first female hockey player to ever play in the NHL. She played in the preseason game for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Okay, and Rachel saying this. I had mixed feelings. I felt proud of her breaking down barriers, but concerned for her safety. All right, so I know that story. I'm a big hockey guy, and Rachel's a big hockey woman. She's a huge hockey fan, and Manon Rhéaume, unfortunately, was used as a prop. And I'm saying that because the general manager of the Tampa Bay Lightning at the time, who I happen to know a little bit, not very well, but a little bit, Phil Esposito, said that he wanted to bring her into a preseason game. Now think about that. It wasn't a regular season game. It was a preseason game. Wanted to bring her into a preseason game as a publicity stunt. And he said, because you can't sell tickets to a preseason game that well because it's not a real game. And you're putting players out there that have no chance to make the roster or a very little chance. You might have 30 guys. It's usually guys, obviously, but 30 guys come to training camp, or in this case, 29 guys and a woman come to training camp, and 2 are going to make it. So that's one of the unfortunate things, is that this can be exploited as something that is not what it's supposed to be. Now, could she have gotten hurt? Yes. Is goaltender the only position that she could have played without getting hurt as much? Yes. We can't ignore the fact that there are physiological differences usually, and again, I use the term usually, between men and women. They just are. You don't see a lot of 6'4", 280-pound women. You just don't. You can see 6'4" women, yeah, but they might be 170 pounds, and they might be 180 pounds, which for their frame fits perfectly. And they look like a normal human being, just a tall human being. But you can't dispute the fact that, you're not going to have a hockey team full of 6'1", 6'2", 6'3", 230, 225, 215, even 210 hockey players. The women might go, 5'8", 5'9", 5'10", a couple 6 foot, 6'1", but the weight usually is not going to be there. It's hard to get both. Why? Because of testosterone. That matters. I mean, we can't, are we going to pretend? Are we going to say, well, yeah, and look, Rachel disagreed. She said, I agree on physical differences just due to testosterone and estrogen. She's right. It's not a knock. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, all right, Sue Bird is the equivalent of LeBron James in basketball. So the WNBA, the Women's Basketball Association. Sue Bird is incredible. She's a great athlete. No doubt about it. Great athlete. If I played her in basketball, I'd have no chance. None. You take anybody off the street, they have no chance against her. She'll blow you away. She'll kill you. All right. She's won as many awards as LeBron James. She's won as many championships as LeBron James. She's done everything that LeBron James has done, except in the WNBA. Okay. And one of the arguments that people make is, well, how could she only be paid $200 and some thousand a year when LeBron James is paid, $34 million a year? It's discrimination. It's not. It's economics. It's economics. The WNBA doesn't have the following that the NBA has. I don't know what the money is, but the NBA brings in billions and billions and billions and billions and billions more than the WNBA. So if I owned a WNBA team, I would be proud of Sue Bird. And I would say, you're a great athlete. I'm really glad you're on the team. And if she said to me, well, if you think so, you should pay me $34 million, I would tell her, but then I would have to fold the team because I don't have it. I don't have that. I couldn't even keep the team running, let alone pay you to have teammates. You'd have to play yourself. So, I mean, is that discrimination, or is that just pure straight economics? That's all I'm saying. I mean, yeah, I mean, in a perfect world, would enough people come out to a WNBA game? Now, I'll tell you what, in soccer, there's a double standard. I'll tell you right now, the women bring in more money than the men in soccer, and the men are still paid more. Now, that's wrong. The women should be paid more in that case because the women are bringing in more money. So they should be paid more in soccer. But you can't pay what is not there. I mean, you can't make stuff up just to make people feel better. Another situation that I've gone through as a male, especially as a white male. And, it's like, well, how could you complain? You're a white male. You shouldn't complain. I was years ago, probably 9-10 years ago, was on a conference call with all women, just me as the only male, all women. And it was to help elect a local official. And we were talking to each other about strategizing and how it would be great to have this African-American woman voted in, and we wanted to back her. And a lady who I don't know if she was African-American or not, her voice sounded like she might be, and what she said sounded like she might be. She said, when I was there, we don't need the white knight in shining armor to come and help us. We could do this alone. Now, did I get mad? Yeah, I did get mad. And did I say anything? No, I didn't say anything. But you know what I did do? I hung up the phone. And I didn't say a word, hung up the phone. And that's how you disenfranchise people, by putting them down or by saying, well, because you're not one of us, we don't need your help. We don't need you to come in. I didn't go in there to try to be some sort of savior. I went in there because I thought the person that we were supporting was the right person. That's why I was there. There was no reason to get angry at me because I happen to be a white male and I wanted to help out. I think that's wrong. And some people may disagree with that. And they may say, well, no, you got to let women fight their own battles or whatever. Why? Why not join together? Why not band together? Why does it have to be different? And now that I'm on the dating scene, I've seen it a lot too. And one of the things that women say is, not again, I'm not making a blanket accusation, but I am saying there is a lot of this. And hey, look, that's I just before I even say it, anybody can choose whatever they want to do. I'm not saying that you have to choose anything. I'm not saying that anybody has to make any choices that whether I agree with them, disagree with them or not. When I teach my computer classes, one of the things that I tell students over and over and over and over is if I teach you something different than the way you do it, but you like your way better, keep doing it your way. Don't change. If your way's better to you, keep going. If it's not, if you like my way better, then great. Then I gave you something new and that you could use it. But I hear a lot of women say, especially career oriented women, oh, I'm not going to date anymore ever again. Or I'm not going to date for years and years and years. And I, being who I am, ask why. Not that I'm trying to talk them into it. I mean, that's their decision. If they want to wait 10 years or never again, that's their decision. I'm not questioning whether it's the right or wrong decision, but I'm just curious, why. And one of the answers that I get is, well, I want to concentrate on my career, and all men do is derail that. And I don't want to have to put up with the derailing of my career. I'm an entrepreneur too. I'm a male entrepreneur. I run, well, one business. I got another business that I'm working on. I'm a C-level person in another company. I run a charity. Does that mean that I think if I met somebody that I was in love with and that I wanted to date, that they would derail me from these things? Or would they make me better? Would they make me strive even harder to be better at these things? Would they come and destroy it, or would they come and make it better? Now, I choose to believe that they would come and make it better. I would look at them and say, you know what? I want to work harder because you inspire me to do more. I don't think men and women complete each other. I think that's a bunch of crap. I don't think they complete each other. I think they're either complete or they're not, but they complement each other. So a man can complement a woman, but he can't complete her. And a woman can't complete a man. She can complement him, but she can't complete him. Either they're complete people or they're not. But if they are complete people and they come together, then that's a union. That's not one completing the other. It's not two pieces of a puzzle that come together. They're full puzzles sitting next to each other. That's how I look at it. So I don't understand, I guess. And it's difficult for me to wrap my head around it, that, and men do this too, because I've seen this with men get frustrated where they're like, well, you know what, then I'm not going to date either because, it's pointless. It's fruitless. There's no reason to do it. We're not, some people say, is it because men are not needed as much anymore? Because look, back in the 50s, it was ridiculous what women had to go through, especially. I mean, think about it. Women to get a credit card had to get their husband's permission. That's ridiculous. That's absolutely asinine for that to be. I mean, that's the way it was, and I guess that's what they believe. But I mean, if you think about it now from this perspective, that's ridiculous. So I'm not saying go back to that. I mean, that's a horrendous way for women to live their lives. They should have the choice to do whatever they want. And they like I said, if they don't want to date, don't date. But a lot of women that I hear, say, one of the things that comes up when I talk to women about dating is that, they don't want to date, but occasionally they'll have flings or slight relationships or the friends with benefits type thing. And when they do it, it's like, well, yeah, but I'm not really dating. But if a guy does that, then he's a pig. Like, they'll say, and I've heard this in conversations. They'll say that, oh, this guy is going out with 4 or 5 girls. Well, aren't girls going out with 4 or 5 guys? I mean, I'm not condoning it, and I'm not saying it's bad either. That's your choice, but you can't get mad at one or the other. I mean, if both do it, then they both do that. I mean, that's what they want. Some people date only one person at a time. That's fine if that's what you want to do. When I was in college, that's what I did. If I dated a girl, I only dated that one girl. I didn't date anybody else, and that was it. And I had friends who would date 4 or 5 different girls at a time, and I had girlfriends who dated 4 or 5 different guys at a time, and that was their choice. And I didn't think they were wrong. I didn't think they were right. I just thought they were making a decision that was best for them. That's all. That's all. Now, what I do have a problem with is when people are piggish and lie. And I do believe that's more a male issue than a female issue. I'll be honest with you. Now, that might be sexist against men. I don't know. I mean, if it is, I apologize. But I think it's more likely that, from what I've heard, and I'll say from my own experience, that it's more of the men that are not being honest in relationships, in that they're saying to girls, "You're the only one I'm with," and yet they're dating somebody else. And obviously that puts women on the defensive, which it damn well should. I agree with that. That's terrible to do. If you're going to be upfront, be upfront. Just say, look, I'm going to date other people. You can too. And if we decide that we want to be together, just the two of us exclusively, then we'll do it. If we decide that we don't, we won't. But I think too many men are being sneaky. And I think, especially where I grew up in South Philadelphia, that was the manly thing to do. I remember, and I will tell you, I mean, as a teenager, I didn't do it, but I had a lot of friends that were like that. Now, some of them were really good friends that I care about and I still talk to and I still am friends with, but I didn't necessarily agree with the way they treated women, because they would lie. They would go on dates and tell the girl, "Well, I'm going home." And then they would go to another girl's house, or they would say, "Well, I can't go out Saturday night. I got to go to my grandmother's," or whatever it was. And this is in our teens and early 20s. But for some of them who are divorced, or like I'm about to be divorced, or some who are still single, they're doing the same thing. They didn't grow up. They're doing the same exact thing. And today it's as wrong as it was 30 years ago when I was in my early 20s. We're 20 years old. It's just as wrong now to me. The lying part of it, not the dating part of it, the lying part of it. So I think what we're running into is we see women very defensive because they don't know who to trust, when to trust them. Now, one thing that I don't like either, and this has happened to me many times, and it happens to a lot of guys who are like me, a lot of guys who are the quote good guy. And you might say, well, oh, he's saying he's the good guy. How do we know he's the good guy? Maybe he's the one who dates around. Well, anybody who knows me knows that I'm not. You know, I wrote an article in the school newspaper in college about how I was waiting for marriage to have sexual relations. Now, now who's going to brag about that in the school newspaper and bring that up at the chance of all the ridicule that you could receive from it? But I did it anyway. So you can go back and check my record as early as 18, 19 years old and know that I'm as honest today as I was then. It's the same thing. But what I ran into was a lot of girls said, yeah, but the problem is with you, meaning guys like me, is that you're vanilla. You're boring, you know, because you're a good guy. You know, I want the guy that's breaks the rules, and he's the tough guy that does this. And first of all, that doesn't make you a tough guy at all. Number one. All right. Being a stalker, being somebody who cheats on women. Rachel said, I can confirm you're a good guy. Thank you, Rachel. You know, those I had girlfriends, again, not dating friends, but girlfriends who would go out with guys that would stalk them, drive to their house, watch their house, Even today I see it happening, and women who have guys send them, 8 million dozen flowers and gift bomb and, do all the things that are creepy and all the things that I tell my kids, my daughters to look out for because they're red flags. And the other one, here's the big one that's gotten a lot of traction that I've seen over, especially, and it happened back when I was a kid, but it's still happening today. I'm going to kill myself if you don't stay with me. That is such an emotional tool of manipulation. It's sickening. It's sickening because it's then you're playing on a female's instinctive nature to want to nurture someone, and you're doing it knowing that they have that instinctive nature. I think there's instinctive nature in all of us, right? Men are hunters and gatherers. I think that's inside of us. I really do. I don't think we could help that. Now, are there exceptions? Yes, of course there are exceptions. But as a general rule, women are more nurturing and more comforting than other men are. What does a guy say when he gets hurt playing football, or somebody in the army who's dying? I want my mom. Very few say I want my dad. Yeah, very few say I wish my dad was here. They say they want their mom. Why? Because their mom's the nurturer, that the mom's the comforting one. The mom's the one who makes them feel more at ease. These are dying soldiers. The last thing they say is, "I want my mom." Or an athlete that's really injured. Where's my mom? You know, and men want to, because that's how we're geared, be the protector. If somebody breaks in the house, I wouldn't say to my wife or girlfriend or wherever, "Hey, why don't you go down there and take care of that? I'll stay here and call 911." That's my job as the man. Now, can there be again, that's a generalization. Can there be instances where it's reversed? Sure. But I would say that's the natural way things work. I don't think I'm saying anything that anybody doesn't realize. But going back to the vanilla thing, I've heard girls say this, and it's happened to women I know too. So I'm not going to say this is just a male thing. But what girls have said to me was, "You're the type of guy I would marry, but you're not the type of guy I would date." What the hell does that mean? What does that mean? You have to date before you can get married. Do you just go out and meet somebody and then all of a sudden somebody goes over to, Jewelers Row in Philadelphia and then decide, okay, we're going to get married? I mean, that doesn't make any sense. You would have to date first before you would get married. This is not a place where we normally have fixed marriages. You get to know the person first. A friend of mine, who I talked to this week, Jenny, we talked with, did a show about her a few months ago. And Jenny and I were talking yesterday, and she said there should be a 90 date rule, not 90 day, 90 date rule, where you have to see each other 90 times. So it's not 90 days. You have to see each other 90 times and then decide whether you want to have a relationship or not. Because just like a job, you have a 90-day probationary period. She said, well, why wouldn't we do that for dating? And I thought, wow, that's a pretty smart idea. Because then you have an idea of your compatibility with that person. You have an idea of whether it works or not. But it's insulting to men and I'll say to me. All right. I'll just say me. And I think it's insulting to other women. If you go up to them and say, it's possible to find somebody who is a good person who I can be with. All I want is a good person, somebody who's nice. And then turn around to you and say, well, you're a nice guy, but you're vanilla. Or you're a nice girl but you're vanilla. Then, it's frustrating for the person who's on that side, no matter what gender they are. I mean, who wants to hear that? And then if you say anything, it's like, well, why are you not being supportive? Well, it's not that I'm not being supportive. It's just that I just don't want to hear that I can't find a nice whatever. And when nice people come along, I'm not saying you got to be attracted to everybody, but if you're attracted to somebody who forgets your birthday, doesn't remember you on your anniversary, is abusive, is mentally or physically abusive, and you prefer that to somebody who, and this is men too, because I just talked to a guy who just got mentally abused bad. I mean, really bad, to the point that he was very, very shaken and called me on the phone, very, very scared, because she got her family involved in this whole thing and everything. So it's not just a one-way thing. But I know that it kind of got off topic a little bit here, but the bottom line is this. Women's strength has nothing to do with men's strength. Nothing. Women's strength is innate. It's what they're good at is what they're good at. Whether a guy is better than them at the job or worse at them at that job makes no difference. It doesn't take away their value. It doesn't change their value. If two women are better than every other guy in the place, then they're the two best. Dr. Saror is the best colorectal surgeon, again, I mentioned it earlier, in the world. I couldn't care less that she's a woman. It doesn't matter to me. It makes absolutely zero difference. Same thing with looking for a psychologist. I've mentioned this before, anxiety, depression, OCD. And, people ask me all the time, do you prefer a man or a woman? I don't care. I prefer who's best at the job. I don't care. I don't have a preference. My preference is, are you better or are you better? And if it's the female that's better, that's who I want. If it's the male who's better, that's who I want. I don't know why this is so hard. I don't know why this is such a difficult thing to talk about and why it's taboo and causes problems. But I mean, can we just get over the fact that some people are just better at certain jobs than others? I mean, even if it's carpentry or whatever, if it's physical labor, if the woman's a better carpenter, then I want her to do the deck on the back of the house. I don't want the guy who's worse. If I have to pay them the same amount of money and I'm going to get a better product from the woman than I am from the man, then I'm going to hire the woman and pay her the same, not pay her less. And lastly, I think that we have this thing now, and it's happened on TV for the last few years, especially in the 80s, but going even up to now, where the male has to play the buffoon. Everybody loves Raymond, right? The TV show. Raymond was an idiot, and the wife Deborah had to pick up everything for him, and she saved the day when he screwed everything up. And then he had shows like Modern Family, and Jay was, big blowhard, and he always had to be picked up for and cared for, and he was a buffoon and was stupid. And Tim Allen with Home Improvement, he was the breadwinner. He was the TV guy. He was the one who did all the home improvement work on TV, but he was a buffoon. He would make mistakes and she would have to clean it up, and at the end of the day admonish him for him being a quote moron for the things that he was doing wrong. So what are we doing? Are we saying that in order for women to be superior, or even equal, we have to make men less? Now, how about we do this? How about we raise up women and put them right on the same level? Why bring down one gender to bring up another? Why not bring up both and get them on the same level, period? That's all I'm asking. I'm not asking for one to be better than the other. And I'm also hoping that people don't make, when that lady told me that we don't need the white knight in shining armor, one of her comments says that the white man's day is over, it's done. Well, is that fair to me? Because I was born in 1974, so I should just give up my life? Or my nephew, who's 14, should give up his life because he's a white boy? So just things to think about. We'll talk about this more in other shows, but all right, so we're going to run the commercial that we usually run. It's about the Checkmates hockey game, and then we'll be back and finish up the show.
Hey everybody, I just want to tell you how thankful I am that you came out tonight and helped us out on a very special evening. Crohn's and colitis are terrible diseases, and they affect a lot of people, not only in the Delaware Valley, someday.
Nolan here with you at the Checkmates versus the Flyers alumni. We had a great time this afternoon. Game was close, and we're all here for Checkmates Charities, which is the real reason that everybody's here, not only the players, but all the fans that were here. It was a great day, and we're really happy to be here.
It was fun to be out here at Northeast Skate Zone because the Checos were a pretty good team, and so we had a lot of fun with the charity.
And it was good because they took it easy on us old guys. So we had a good time. So anytime you can do something for charity, and I know a couple guys on the other team, and just to be on the rink, we all go have fun.
Good times go. I'm either gone in an instant or here to the bitter, and I never know what I got.
I want to thank my family for all that they did to help me get through this, and there's a lot of planning that get done. It has to get done. I want to thank Nick's Roast Beef and Common Avenue for all they've done. Dr. Creative for saving my life and finding the disease and treating me for so long. And the Flyers organization for all they do to help us raise money every year. So thank you, everybody. I appreciate it.
I'll see you when I fall asleep. Baby, I'm ready to go. Baby, I'm ready to go. Baby, I'm ready to go.
All right, so baby, we're ready to go. Don't forget this Saturday, June 21st, 2 to 5, Mark Howe, Brian Prop at Marlton's Chickies and Pete's for a signing that will help raise money for that game on August 23rd. So make sure you come out and see us. www.checkmatescharity.com. All right, everybody, I want to thank you for watching. I hope you have a great week, and I will see you next week.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USA Global TV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Music by Johnny Dyes. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative Direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Copyright 2025. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.